Welcome back to Around the Horns. We have another Monday morning here with Coach Schloss of Texas baseball. Coach, I know y'all had a weekend. How are you doing?
We did have a weekend. Yeah, I mean, I'm good. If you saw the media post game yesterday, you could tell we were all disappointed. I was super disappointed. Just in, and maybe it was my own personal desires, I guess. I really wanted yesterday to be a super cool day, senior day. Uh, Great crowd. Our crowds have been so good. So inspired by our crowds and what they've become in our first year here. And I don't know if that was the case in previous seasons. I just only know my experiences here from other schools, and obviously when it's TCU and A&M, the crowds are normally pretty good. But I just have been super thankful and impressed by the crowds. So what do we have? Senior Day, Mother's Day, a chance to, we have an opening day mentality. I want our players only thinking about today. We can't control all the other stuff, and championships are byproducts of having an opening day mentality. But my competitive spirit is, man, what a cool day it would be to maybe win a ball game and clinch this thing right here. And it didn't happen. And they, Aiden King had a lot to do with that. But anyway, it's a motivating factor. I'm super jacked up to see our players will be in here. They have an optional lift later today, and we're going to have a really good week.
Yeah, speaking of Aiden, I saw some comments after from Osoli, and he was very, very high on what Aiden. He's like, I don't think I've ever seen a freshman do that on the road. He said it was just, and we kind of, I think it was either last week or the week before last, we talked about this. He said, kind of the analytics show that these teams really play up against Texas, and not that that's any excuse, right? Like y'all have to play them just as much, but it kind of seems like this. You always see this guy step forward, and so it was crazy to see Aiden have that much success with the fastball, both sides of the plate against Texas on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think he's landed enough off-speed pitches to get that in the back of your mind, which our philosophy is to, with the exception of there's a 5 or 10% time period where maybe a guy throws 70-80% off-speed pitches, and maybe you sit on a pitch, but for the most part, our philosophy is to never come off the fastball, and even when it's a good fastball. And you could see guys come off of it. We took some strike threes. I haven't got a chance to go through the video. I'd like to go through and count them, and then also see actually which ones were actually strikes. But yeah, it was. It's over with. We can continue to talk about it, but the way I'm trying to think about it this morning is the same team that we're definitely banged up, but so are other teams. Florida played without their starting shortstop and best player this past weekend, but the same team that had 5 sweeps in the season sweeps in the SEC is also the same one that has lost 5 of the last 6 conference games. So, Mike, ifs and buts, but if instead of those sweeps, if we would have maybe in a couple of those sweeps, if we would have only won the series, but would have won a game at Arkansas. Let's say we win yesterday, but we're still sitting at 20-7. Would you feel differently? Probably so, right? Yeah. You probably would feel differently because the taste in your mouth is what have we done lately, right? And so all that, potential is a really scary word because it just means you haven't done it yet. But we have done it. We have played well on the road in the SEC. We have played at home well in the SEC, and so now we have to go do it again. And again, this is all pretense to getting our team in line to advance in a postseason.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, right? Because I get this question quite often late in the season about the rankings and everything else. And I know rankings are certainly not a good barometer of what a team is or what they've done, right? Because it's very much a recency bias of, hey, you had a bad week and great, we're going to drop you 20 points or 10 points, whatever. But how do you as a coach evaluate a squad? To your point, like y'all had 5 sweeps, y'all had won every season. Coming into the Arkansas series, you were one of 2 teams in the nation that had not lost a series all season long. How do you get your folks to have the mindset, or the squad to have the mindset of like, look, you are the same squad. Yeah, you're banged up, but guys, you just showed everyone you were the number 1 team in the nation for 3-4 weeks. Like, that's not by accident. This is because of you. This is your success that you've shown on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think 2 things can be true. We can still have a really good team, and it's a different team, right? It's a team that's built on pitching and defense for the most part right now, and timely hitting. We need our best players to, you normally get big hits and big moments. We've added a really good player in Jonah Williams, who's really showing what he's capable of doing. But we're also a team that, we can, if we don't get, if we don't get those hits, then we, can lose. So it is what it is. It is what it is. That the rankings aren't, to me, like it was asked yesterday, those are relative to the other teams and what they're doing. So LSU had a good weekend against Arkansas. Maybe I don't know who's going to be the number. I don't look at that stuff. I only hear about it. I truly don't look at it. My job is we got to get this thing ready for the postseason and obviously hopefully win a champion. It's way harder. This sounds crazy. And I know Omaha is the standard here. And Omaha is my standard. But it's way harder to win an SEC regular season championship than it is to win a national championship. Like winning a national title is simply winning a tournament. And you can have the very best team, or like last year, the 2 best teams played for the national championship. I'm really convinced of that. So you can have the best team go through and win. Tennessee was the best team in the country. You can also have a team get hot and win. And that's Ole Miss a couple years ago, or Coastal Carolina, and unfortunately at TCU's expense in 2016. And I always ask fans, what do you consider a good season? An awesome regular season that ends early, because tournament baseball and the stupid game of baseball can get you, like it did the great Tennessee team in 22, or is it a hang around, get in a regional, get hot, and win a national championship year? And most fans, I think, especially at Texas, if Omaha is the standard, then okay, then how we get there, it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. And so I think I want to win all the games. We want to win all the games. The record we currently have in conference is actually not even normal. Go back, even though we've lost 5 of 6. Go back and look at the history of this league, especially in the last, since COVID. There is very few dominant teams. There might be a outlier here and there, but it's we won the SEC West at A&M my first year at 19-11, right? And so going 20-10 in this league, that's a dominant season. And so I don't know. I'm rambling, but these are things that I'll discuss with the team to both hold them accountable and give them great hope and great motivation to prepare to go have a good last regular season weekend.
Yeah, it was funny because I spent some time Saturday night, Sunday morning looking at those past years, 24, 23, all the way back to 21. And one of the things that caught my eye was like 2023 LSU. They had an amazing team, Paul Skeens and the boys. They were 19-11. They finished 4th in the SEC in overall rankings, right? And then you look at the number of teams that have won 20 games in over those courses. Like last year was really an outlier with Kentucky and Tennessee. Like Kentucky was kind of came out of nowhere to some extent, but yeah, it was interesting to see kind of those results and how many teams went really deep to Omaha, and they 13-17 or 14-16. So, I know, like, from the media perspective, we always see one avenue. The coaches sees another avenue. And then of course you have the fans, but oftentimes I think a lot of folks maybe fail to realize the players themselves. Like they're not okay with losing. They're not okay with, not showing up right. And sometimes you have to remind them like, hey guys, like they had a team meeting and it wasn't just a, hey, we're still great. It was, hey, this was not good plaintively. Like I think
Yeah.
Galvan was very straightforward yesterday.
Yeah. And let me be super clear. I went back and watched the post game thing yesterday, and there were some questions to Ryland that I guess they're fair questions, but they're not cool questions in the moment. And there's no, like, we have an awesome culture. These kids really care. If anything, they care for each other. They root for each other. The same team that you see on the top rail when we were playing, when we were had good weekends, or this past Saturday, it's the same team that was in there yesterday. Like it's the same. There's no any issue. Things pop up during seasons where, as a coach, I have to, when the guys forget how many outs there are, that may happen again, and I won't take the two guys out of the game. But in that moment, I felt like that was the right thing to do. But there's no, like, I love our team. I love them. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to, or we aren't going to challenge them when they need to be challenged. And challenge doesn't have to be cursing at them. I'm not telling you I'm not telling you that a few choice words didn't come out, but it's not at them. Do you understand? It's with them. I'm right there with them. The coaches are right there with them. And I think when you win as a team, you lose as a team. It's not about, well, the pitchers did this or the hitters did that. No, man, it was a disappointing day, not a disappointing season by any chance.
Yeah.
It's a great season. It's a great season so far. But it's just a disappointing day. And hey, fellas, like let's understand, like every single day matters, and it's not just every single day that you play. It's every single choice you make, right? And we can't be having guys cramping up when it hasn't even gotten hot yet. So why is that happening? Is that bad luck? Are you making good choices away from the field in terms of sleep and hydration? Like those are the things that drive me crazy as a coach. Is if we make the right choices away from the field and in practice each day, work hard, then that gives us the best chance. And if we lose, we lose. But if we're not, or we don't play hard, right? We don't get our rear end all the way through first base as fast as we can possibly go. Now that is when I'm going to absolutely lose it. And I would hope that a real fan, especially a real fan of baseball, would understand that control the things you can control. And if you do that, then you can live with the results.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think for the most part, and you've talked about this before, where Texas has some well-versed fans, right? They've seen a lot of baseball. Typically the average fan at Texas baseball has been around Dish for a number of years, and they're longtime season holders. But yeah, it's I always this may not be popular to a lot, but I always say like that football mentality where people are like, oh, after every loss you need to have the Augie rant. And I'm like, guys, the brilliance about Augie was that he understood you could do that once, maybe twice in a season, and after that you were going to lose your team. Like that's not the way you coach kids. That's not the way that they feel that you care for them, that you love them, that you're there to support them. I said that was a very unique situation where
yes,
time and place.
Yeah, and we play 56 games. Like a lot of times, the question after a game, if we lose, is what is the message to the team? I don't know. I haven't talked to the team. I'll talk to the team tomorrow. It's the best change that I've made in my coaching career. I don't know if we've talked about this. Was in the summer of. It started the summer of 2013, but since 2014, maybe 5 or 6 times in a season, at max, I'll meet with a team after a game. I stopped doing that. College baseball is you see everybody go in and meet, they get in their little huddle in left field or huddle in the right field, or now it's the popular thing to huddle in the dugout. No one can hear you. It's not a teachable moment. Emotions are high. Sometimes the coach says things he wish he could take back. And it's just not my job is being a teacher. And That's not the most teachable moment, but there are times where, yes, things need to be called out. And so Augie's famous speech was about this game of in my opinion, this game of baseball. It's reflective of life. It's super important. When we're playing on the field, it's the most important thing because that's what's going on now.
Yeah.
But when the game's over, it's surely not the most important thing in life after your faith and your family and the other things that you have going on. So I think in your comment about the Texas fans, they've seen such great baseball. They've seen the best of best baseball with Coach Dish, Falk, Gus, and Augie. At the same time, this college baseball has been different, not just since COVID. It's actually the last 3 years. And so I had a former player say something to me a week or two ago about, man, it sure is good to see Texas dominant again. And I was like, buddy, like it's good to see us. You need to understand it's good to see us play well.
Yeah.
There may be 1 year, which we had that for 21 games, right? There may be 1 year where you have an outlier team or an outlier stretch. But the days of Texas having the only nice ballpark or the only good budget, that those ended a while ago. And I think people know that. But that doesn't mean we should change our standard. Our standard's the standard. My standard's the standard. I'm here because this place has proven it can go to Omaha 38 plus times and win national titles. And I'm not trying to manage expectation at all. Fans can do whatever they want, but believe me, we want to win every game, but we also have so much respect for the SEC and what it brings every single day. And all you got to do is look at the games. Arkansas looks at how they looked against us, how they do against LSU. I think OU's got a really good team. I think Kentucky's got a really good team. They go in there and get swept. Vandy, Tennessee, obviously the A&M situation. So it's just it can snowball on you, man. And the good thing for us is it hasn't snowballed on us, and we have mental skills to go to circle it back, even though the last 6 games haven't been great. Conference games.
Yeah, I think I keep telling everyone, I said, from the time I'm around the team, which is more than probably your average fan, and obviously I'm not there every day or anything like that. I'm not in practices, but the guys look and act the right way, right? It's not, you don't see them moping about. You don't see them doing things that you were like, ooh, man, that's not good. Because very frankly, in years past, you would see some of the players and you're like, that's just not the behavior that you would expect to see from a team that, is going through this, right? And so, but I also go back to like what Dre said during media availability. He's like, look, the biggest thing I've seen from a, coaching change and just the years that I've been here is like the culture. He goes, there's more love on this team that I've ever seen before. And this is a guy that's a super, super senior, right? Like he's seen some things. And so I think that says a lot to the, the culture y'all have been able to build in a very short time. And I think people also forget, like, you can't snap your fingers and just build a team instantaneous. It takes time, right? So, crazy game of college baseball this weekend, I think. So every weekend, you probably don't know this, but I make predictions on 8 random non-conference games and then the 8 conference games or series, I should say. I think I had my worst predictions ever this entire, like, I might have gotten every single series wrong in SEC play. Like, it was not pretty. So it's crazy.
You just
forward, though. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Keep going.
I was just to say, looking forward, I think that one thing stood out to me, though, from post game was you talked about the pitching, right? Like, who you have on a pitching staff at this point, which maybe there's some guys that have even surprised lately, like a Hudson Hamilton or Cody Howard, some of those guys that have really kind of come through and worked hard and been able to show you, hey, you can trust me in these instances. How do you start aligning your pitching staff as you go into this OU weekend, knowing there's still that goal to play for? Obviously, it's not the ultimate goal, but then, hey, very quickly, we've got Hoover. Very quickly after that, it is regional time. So how do you start aligning in your mind, hey, this is the guy that it maybe not be his perfect role for him, but this is where the team needs him And how
Yeah.
do you kind of align those things?
I mean, we're going to have, we had a long conversation after the game yesterday, and we're getting ready to meet here in a little bit. And I mean, I think you work from the regional back. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it remains to be seen. Unfortunately, Ruger didn't throw very many pitches the other day. He threw 35, 40 pitches to get 2 outs or whatever it was. So maybe that's a blessing in disguise. It's a little bit of a break, and he goes out there this weekend and has a better day. But I thought Luke was outstanding. Obviously, Max was great. Saunier was really good. Burns was good twice. Like you said, Hamilton has been really good in sucking up innings in moments that we need him. And what those do is, we get in the loser's bracket of a regional, or somebody else goes down, and now Hudson Hamilton or Cody Howard, those guys should really have confidence.
Yeah.
We've had multiple pitchers start games, right? We've had Flores start games. We've had Rarick start games. We've had Saunier start games. So basically what will, Cade Bing. So without revealing, I can't reveal too much because other coaches and other staffs watch this stuff. We have to have those guys, make sure everybody's had an experience. For example, maybe there's somebody we want to start a game again that hasn't started often. And we want them to have that experience. And then once you get to the NCAA tournament, it's about your draw, right? And what are the matchups? What are the what ifs? Let's say we earn a not number one national seed, but let's say we're a number one seed in our own regional or a regional. A lot of it, who is your 4 seed? I've played 4 seeds very rarely. I think I can only remember 2 times where we were such a good national seed where we got one of those 4 seeds that had a big time losing record, but just won their tournament. And okay, so you can maybe take some chances there with some other guys. I've had 4 seeds that have a second round pick in them, and you just can't.
Yeah.
You have to line it up with your very best pitchers. And so, but obviously, you could probably rank the first 6 or 7 guys, and I think everybody knows who they are. And then it's about having them available. Could Max Grubbs start? Sure. But is Max Grubbs at his best being available 2 times in a regional versus 1 time in a regional, right? So, somebody like that. So I like where we are. I like the fact that Grubbs has been stretched out so he could give us multiple innings, that he can pitch twice in a weekend. I like the fact that Burns went back-to-back yesterday for, I think, the first time this year. Certainly the first time.
Yeah.
Certainly the first time with high-end stuff, where his stuff was as good yesterday as it was the day before. We know Valanis number one, he started games. And number 2, he's thrown 2+ innings out of the bullpen. He's pitched on back-to-back days. He's pitched twice in a weekend, right? So all the things you're gonna need to win a regional, we've put our team in. So I'm very proud of that. Max has done a good job of that, navigating that for us. So let's just see how this weekend goes, and then we'll take a look at how to attack the conference tournament. I would like to win that too, but not at the expense of any injury or stressing out any player. But it's all about prepping for the regional.
Yeah. I was watching some of the Arkansas LSU game just after Texas played, and Lynn Daniels was talking about the difficulties of winning in Hoover and how it kind of, same themes that you've talked about. Like if you've gone through the SEC gauntlet, you get to regional, it's almost like, oh, thank goodness. Like I don't have to face another SEC team, right? Not that there's bad teams out there, but he was talking about Hoover, and he's like, Hoover might be, especially the old format where it was you had to win twice or lose twice to get eliminated. He's like, that might have been the hardest tournament anyone's ever put together all time. He's like, the amount of talent, the number of days, you get no rest. He's like, it was absolutely insane. And so how much does that factor in the new format where it is a single elimination? Kind of ease your mind about, hey, look, we have an opportunity to go win an SEC tournament. To your point, we're not going to kill ourselves burning up all of our arms, but it is single elimination. So if it happens that's great. But it's maybe a little easier than in the past.
Well, unless you were one of the bottom teams in the prior tournament, you knew you were playing 2 games. And the 2 of my 3 years in College Station, when I felt really good about us, hosting a regional and being in a regional, and also probably being a national seed, then playing the 2 games, you had to navigate 2 games, right? So in other words, no one wants to go there and lose, but I remember going in there and saying, well, we got to play these 2 games, and I really want to. Ryan Prager is going to have to throw, but we're only going to throw him for a couple innings, and get him out. And that old format, just a little sidebar, it was double elimination. But if you were on the top end and you won 2 games and got to Saturday, if you lost that game, you were out. So my first year at A&M, we went 2-1 and got sent home by Florida. I think it was Florida or maybe Arkansas. I don't know. And I was like, wait a second, we only lost 1 game in a double elimination tournament. What, how, but that was actually the perfect scenario in that. And Nolan Kane has the most experience. He said, hey man, the perfect scenario where we are in that first year was go down there, go 2-1 and come home, play your 3 games, like a 3-game series, and be done. My second year, we were 14-16, I think, to end the regular season. And we felt like we needed to win some games, and we actually ended up playing, we played 6. Yeah, we played 6 games in a row, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we lost in the championship game to Vanderbilt. And that was a lot. It got us in a regional. It got us to Stanford, but it stressed our team really well. So, bad. So in the new format, the top seeds get protected. So you can go down there and, yeah, you can win it, but you only have to play 3 games. But you could also go down there, play 1 or 2, and be sent home and get ready. So I know this is getting long, but one of my favorite Augie Garrido moments when our relationship really started to get deep was in 2015. We won at TCU. I think we won the regular season championship in the Big 12. We were the number 1 seed. I think it was the year the conference tournament was moved for 1 year to Tulsa, and we had to play a 9 a.m. game as the number 1 seed. I think we lost to Baylor maybe or Tech, and then we had to come back at 9 a.m. and we lost to either Baylor or Tech. I know those are the 2 teams we played. It was 2 and out, morning games, brutal experience. And I remember getting back to the bus and turning my phone on, and my very first text was from Augie. And Augie said, this is the best thing to ever happen for your team. Get home, get rest, have some good practices, and we'll see you in Omaha. And that's exactly what happened. We won that was the year of the 22 inning regional game against Coach Pierce's team, I think 15. And then 15, and then we had the extra inning game at home against A&M. But seasons are weird, man, and we'll see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I know Augie absolutely hated that Big 12 tournament. Every single time he's like, I got to go back up there again. He goes, can we just stay home and practice? That's all he wanted to do with that tournament.
Yeah. One more comment on that is it was really cool having the 2005 team here on Saturday. I don't know Jay Brent Cox well. I've met him. I was really hoping he'd throw a pitch and drop to his knees. That would have been awesome. But maybe if I dropped to my knees, my hip would just blow up. But I also got to spend some time with Augie's wife, Jeannie, and his daughter. And we had some good conversations. Some good stories were told. She was here again yesterday. And that was another reason why I wanted to win. I just thought everything was lined up. And the game of baseball didn't allow it to happen yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, Jeannie's is a very special lady. And that 2005 squad brings back so many. I was actually in Omaha as a fan and got to see them win. And just like going back and looking at all those names, I mean, Randy Boone, Jay Brent Cox. I know Adrian Alanis wasn't there, but I saw him post afterwards that with a picture with his two daughters wearing the jersey. And yeah, that was really cool to see, even though I actually didn't get to be there on Saturday either, because family comes first and my son's birthday. So it was
Happy
good.
birthday.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool that y'all got to honor that 2005 squad. And there was a good irony there, playing Florida at home as well, since they beat them in Omaha. So
yeah. Thankfully, it wasn't Sully wasn't the coach there yet. I don't think so.
No, Pat McMahon. Pat
McMahon was the coach. Yeah. So when we did that at the beginning, if I had to do that over again, I probably would have picked a different weekend. I don't ever want to rub I don't want anybody from Florida to feel like we rub their nose in it or any of that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, Coach, I know y'all got a lot of work to get to. You've got a lot of analytics, I'm sure, to watch, and a lot of tape to get prepared for Kyson Witherspoon, because he's coming, and he's a dangerous man out there.
He is. We need to. It's going to be tough to beat him, but we'll give it our best shot. And they have other pitchers too that are really good. So we just need to play good baseball. Win or lose, we need to play some sound baseball and start swinging bat a little bit. But we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate the time as always, Coach, and hope you all have a great week of practice.
All right. Appreciate you, Zach.
Welcome.